If you're British and thinking of moving to Spain, then I'd like you to watch this video to the end. And the reason I say that is because many Brits seem to think that Spain just offers one lifestyle, and that actually couldn't be further from the truth. If you move to one area of Spain, you could instantly feel at home. However, another area may take you longer to adjust. Now, I know this. I've been living in this wonderful country for 20 years, and over those 2 decades, I've lived in many different areas. Now, the reason I'm saying this is simply because Spain isn't culturally and socially uniformed. And to put that into some sort of context, life, for example, in Galicia is going to feel very different to life in Alakanti. Coastal areas of Spain are going to feel very different to inland areas of Spain. Also as well, Spain has many different languages depending on the region that you live, and this is something that many people overlook. So if you're thinking about moving to Spain, you're not looking just for a place to visit, you're looking for a place where you can build a new lifestyle. So in this video, I'm going to go over most of the popular areas that British tend to move to, and also one lesser known area that I personally love. So let's jump to it. Okay, first up, let's talk about Andalusia, because I think when Brits imagine Spain, that's the area that they typically think of. They think of whitewashed villages, tapas, outdoor living, long summers and mild winters. And for the most part, they're right. However, there's a lot more to Andalusia. Andalusia is a huge province, and depending on the kind of lifestyle you're looking for, you can pretty much guarantee that you can find it here. Now, to put those lifestyles into 2 different kind of perspectives, let's imagine the Marbella area. The Marbella area is very international, it's a lot more money driven, there's certainly a lot more younger people there. They're into their fast cars, designer clothes and being seen eating at the right restaurants. Whereas if you come inland, you're going to find that it's much more traditional life and certainly slower. Then of course you've got budgets for property. Now, as I said, Andalusia is a big region, and depending on what your budget will pretty much dictate where you end up. Coastal properties are pretty expensive. However, if you come inland, maybe 20 or 30 minutes, property prices are a lot more affordable. However, there is a trade-off. Inland areas can become extremely hot in the summer. Now, that's not to say the coastal areas aren't hot, but you do find on the coast that you typically get a little breeze coming off of the sea, and that can bring the temperature down to a much more bearable level. Obviously as well, if language is a barrier for you, then the coastal areas are going to be better for you because you can pretty much live there full time and never need a word of Spanish. Whereas inland, obviously English becomes a lot less spoken, it's less touristy, and therefore even a basic level of Spanish is going to be needed. So in short, Andalusia is a fantastic region. It's a very pretty region, very green, and it offers all kinds of lifestyles depending on what you're looking for. Okay, next up, let's talk about Mercia or Murcia, because I think this is an area that's often overlooked. Now, I actually own another property in that region, and I personally really like that area. However, it is completely different to Andalusia. It's a very hot and dry climate, and from a landscape point of view, it's certainly not as pretty. It's a lot more barren, it's not as green, and that's simply down to the climate there. Now, property prices in the Mercia area are a lot lower than, say, the Costa del Sol, and that makes it a lot more interesting for people that are maybe looking to retire. That's one of the other things that I've noticed with the Mercia region as well, is that the British people that tend to buy there are often in their 50s, 60s or beyond. They're more at that retirement age, whereas, say, the Costa del Sol, with it being known as more of a party sort of area, it does tend to attract the younger British. Also as well in the Mercia area, I think life feels a lot more local because it's less tourist driven. Yes, you get tourists there, but nowhere near the numbers that you will get on the Costa del Sol. Also as well, the infrastructure in Mercia I particularly like. Now, depending on what you read and where you read it, some places will say the infrastructure is poor and some will say it's great. Personally, I think it's fantastic. Like I say, I spend a lot of time there at my other home, and the road network is great, the conditions of the roads are great, and the traffic is fantastic. In the height of summer, a 15-minute journey in the Marbella area can take you an hour, whereas a 15-minute journey in Mercia will take you 15 minutes. So if you're looking for sunshine and value, then Mercia could be a very interesting option for you. Okay, next up is Alakanti. Now, Alakanti is a very popular area for Brits that are moving to Spain. It offers a good infrastructure, English is widely spoken, And there's also a strong international community there. And I think overall that makes it very popular because it can feel very comfortable and familiar. But there are trade-offs. Some of the coastal zones there can feel very much like you're living in a British bubble. And if that's what you're looking for, that's absolutely fine. But it's also worth thinking about that if you want a deeper sort of cultural integration, then maybe coastal areas of Alakanti aren't the best area for you. Okay, now for one of the lesser known areas, and that is Galicia. And Galicia holds a special place in my heart, and it's actually my favourite area in Spain. When I came here 20 odd years ago, that is where I ended up. Now, Galicia is located in the northwest of Spain, and it offers things that are completely different, say, from southern Spain. Much greener, and the climate is much colder. In actual fact, the climate is pretty much on par with the UK. So if extreme heat is something that you're not interested in, this could be a particularly good option for you. Galicia is very culturally rich in its uniqueness. It has deep connection with Celtic roots. The food is fantastic, the people are fantastic, the architecture is beautiful, but it rains a lot, and that is something to take in consideration. In actual fact, over the time that I was there, I was told many times that it officially has more rainfall in parts of the UK. Another important thing to take in consideration about Galicia as well is that simply English isn't spoken. In the whole time I was there, I came across one other person who actually spoke English. So learning Spanish is going to be essential there as part of the integration. Okay, the next region I want to discuss is Catalonia, because Catalonia is and feels, if you've ever been, very international. You're going to hear both Spanish and Catalan. Catalan is the official language there, but the region is bilingual. However, I've spent time with Spanish people in that area, and the locals didn't like the Spanish talking Spanish. I was fine. I don't speak Catalan. I only speak Spanish. So because they obviously knew I was a foreigner, they was happy to talk to me in Spanish. But the Spanish people I was with, when they were talking to the Catalans in Spanish, there was tension. They didn't like it. But typically the region is bilingual. It has much stronger business and an economic environment that you won't necessarily find in other parts of Spain. However, living costs there are typically high. So I would say, particularly if we're talking about Barcelona, that's really more of an area for professionals, entrepreneurs, or people that just want more of a sort of urban, international lifestyle. Now, one of the big mistakes that Brits tend to make when they're considering choosing a new life in Spain is purely based on sunshine. And don't get me wrong, weather matters, but so do community life, healthcare access, language, year-round lifestyle, and whether you want an expat bubble or a deeper integration. Holiday Spain and real life Spain are two completely different things. So this is something that you really need to think about before you make the move. Spain isn't about finding the perfect region. What I think it's about finding a region that fits both your personality and your lifestyle. If you're thinking about moving here to Spain, let me know in the comments, which region are you considering and what are the reasons for that? Anyway guys, I really hope this video has given you something to think about. Now if you have enjoyed this video, I'm going to ask you to please hit that like button, and if you haven't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. It's absolutely free to do, doesn't cost a penny, but it really helps this channel to continue growing. Anyway, enjoy whatever you're doing for the rest of the day, and I'll catch you in the next one.